Hi guys, how you doing? Hoping you're doing well and welcome to Lynn's Corner. Today's episode is going to be a series that I am about to start concerning working on yourself. And in this first episode, I am going to talk about dealing with self-toxicity. So stay tuned up to the end of the video to learn about everything that I will talk about. Also remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Remember, it's road to 200 subscribers. My name is Lynn. I am a counseling psychology student at Kenya Methodist University, and you're very welcome here at Lynn's Corner. So let's get right into the video. What is self-toxicity? Who is a toxic person? So a toxic person is anyone whose behavior adds negativity and upset to the life of others. They are difficult to deal with and they tend to cause a lot of conflict. So from the definition that I have just given, who do you relate in your life to be a toxic person? Who do you think is a toxic person in your life? Or are you that person yourself? Are you a person whose behavior adds negativity to the life of others? Are you a person whose behavior upsets others? Are you a person who is difficult to deal with, or are you also a person who tends to cause a lot of conflict? Are you a toxic person is the question. So I hope that you have answered the questions that I have just asked, and as you're answering those questions, let me add another question. What do you think makes a person toxic? What makes one toxic? Number one is unhealed wounds. We say in psychology that hurt people hurt others. So if you are hurting, you tend to find yourself also hurting others. And in that process of hurting others, it's where you become a toxic person. So if you are hurting, you hurt others, you become toxic unconsciously. That one is not like, yes, kukuwa toxic juu unataka kukuwa toxic. You are hurting others unconsciously because you are hurting. It's like a person who is bleeding, then they have blood on their hands. If that person touches you, they will leave you with blood on your hands. That's how like toxicity is spread. I have blood on my hands, I touch you, I leave you with blood. My toxicity affects you. That is what I am trying to say. Another thing that causes people to be toxic is their childhood upbringing. Childhood influences a lot on people's life. So if you are brought up in a toxic environment, if you are brought up in an environment where you are told you will not amount to anything, you're a stupid person, people were manipulating you, you tend to also find yourself being toxic. Na hiyo si ukui toxic juu nataka. It's the way you are brought up. You are brought up in a toxic environment. So toxicity has grown to be a part of you. So you become a toxic person. Another thing that makes people toxic is what you consume. When I was doing computer back in the days, our computer teacher used to say garbage in, garbage out. So if you are consuming a lot of toxicity, if there is a lot of toxic negative energy in your life, if there's a lot of negative vibes in your life, you become a toxic person unconsciously, because what you consume is what you will be giving. Because garbage in, garbage out, negativity in, negativity out. So what are you consuming right now? As you are an adult, as you are a teenager watching this video, be very conscious on what you consume, whether it's online, among the people around you, the people you have allowed to surround you. Ensure that there is no negative energy. Ensure that there is no negative vibes. Ensure that there is no toxicity, because what you consume becomes a part of you, and the more you're consuming negativity, the more you're consuming toxicity, is the more you become a toxic and negative person. So garbage in, garbage out. Watch out on what you consume, because what you consume can be what is making you to be a toxic person. So after knowing what makes one toxic, the next question I am posing is, what are the signs that you are a toxic person? The number one sign of being toxic for yourself, because in this video I am dealing with self-toxicity. Number one sign is you do not see the good in others. You're that person who you meet me and the first thing you're pointing out is Pascal's energy. No, yeah. If you're not willing to see the good in others, you are a toxic person. Sorry, not sorry to say that you are a toxic person, because why don't you want to see the good in others? You're that person who ukishaona mtu hivi negative to the things that you're putting out about that person is just negative. You are a toxic person. The second sign is that you are willing to hurt or betray others in order for you to win. You're that person who wants to get that trophy, to get that crown at the expense of others. If you're willing to hurt or betray others in the process of you getting victory, in the process of you getting that crown, getting that trophy, you are a toxic person. The third sign is you have entitlement in your life. You expect people to do things for you just because you want them to. Yeah, you expect them to change who they are just for you. So I'm here like, let's say I have this friend X. I want X to change the way they are to accommodate me in their life. Yeah. And this change is mostly negative change. If you want people to change who they are, to change how they talk, to change how they view things just to accommodate you, you are a toxic person. If you want people to do things for you, you are a toxic person. You have entitlement, and being entitled in a negative way especially shows that you are a toxic person. The fourth sign, is this the fourth or the fifth at this point? I don't even know. You're the person who vents out a lot. And by venting out, I mean that you are dumping your emotional garbage on others and draining them of energy, of their energy. Yeah? Not like in a good way. You're dumping emotional garbage. Yeah, you even with the way I'm saying it, emotional garbage. You're that person who, with a little negative energy in your life coming through, you want everyone to be affected because it's affecting you. If something is affecting you and you also want everyone else around you to be affected, you are a toxic person. There's a right way to share emotions. You don't have to affect everyone around you just because wewe unasikia hauko poa. So if you're not sharing out your emotions in the right way, if you're sharing out your emotions with people so as to hurt them, so as to drain them of their energy, you are a toxic person. Another sign is you have a lot of projection. Like, what is projection? It's seeing yourself in other people. You're that person who always says, oh, all my friends are toxic, my boyfriend is toxic, my parents are toxic. Why are you saying like everyone around you is toxic? It's because you are toxic. You are projecting what you are on other people. It's like the way in social media, people tend out to give a lot of negative comments. And why are they giving out these negative comments? It's because it's what they are. Not because it's what you are. You want also everyone to be like that. You project yourself kwa kila mtu. So everyone around you is toxic. And probably they are not even toxic. Probably they are not even the problem. And something that I'd like to point out in this video, if you always say that everyone around you is toxic, you're the problem, my friend. Because there's no way that kila mtu mwenye ana interact na wewe ndiye shida. Something has to be the problem. And if everyone is the problem, you're the problem. Yeah? Another sign is that you like to gossip a lot and you are very judgmental. My friend, why are you gossiping about people? Why are you judging everyone on even the pettiest things they do? You're toxic. Another thing is you tend to manipulate people a lot. And how do you manipulate people? You guilt trip them. Like you're addressing your friend, you're like, but I always do everything for you. Why don't you want to do this small thing to me? And that small thing that you're saying is small to you, it's affecting them. Probably it's affecting their financial stability, it's affecting their emotional stability. Yeah, so you're guilt tripping them to do things for you. You are a toxic person. Another sign is you like to seek attention. You always want to be the person who is getting attention from everyone. Like everyone around you has to give you attention because you are real. It's a sign that you are toxic. Why do you want everyone's attention? Why can't you let another person shine? Yeah? Because you are toxic. Another sign is that you're always complaining how you do this or that, but you never get anything back. You're that friend who is like, but I always gift you. Mbona wewe utakangi kuni gift? But I always do things for you. Why don't you want to do these things back for me? It's because you're toxic. Why are you always complaining how you do this to people? Why do you always want to tell people how you always do things for them? Are you trying to get what I'm trying to say? It shows that you are a toxic person. Another sign that you are toxic is you always think you know better. You're that person who you're, say, in a meeting or with your friends, you're hanging out, then someone gives an opinion. Then you also give your opinion and you want to prove how better your opinion is. You're that person who it's either your way or their highway. If people are not doing as you want them to do, then you are out. You are a toxic person. Another sign is that you are always negative. Kwa kila kitu wewe kama ni kusema, if you're complimenting people, it's negatively. If you're talking about something, it's negative. You just spew out negativity. Like wewe tu kuongea, it's just negative, 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 negative. It shows you're toxic. And my last point, which is you're that person who always says it's everyone else's fault. Like wewe, you are never at fault. Kila mtu mwingine ndiye hukosea, but wewe, you are the saint. You're always the saint in the stories. In the stories that you're giving, wewe hukoseange. Everyone else does wrong apart from you. It shows how toxic you are. Why can't you accept that? We are human. We all make mistakes. Why is it that in your stories, why is it that in your interactions with other people, you're always the saint? It shows that you're a toxic person, yeah? So, after talking about all the signs about being toxic and how toxicity shows out in people, how do you stop being toxic? Number one is deal with your past trauma. I said this earlier in the video that hurting people hurt others. So if you have a trauma that you have not dealt with, you'll be that person who every time you touch a person, every time you communicate with a person, you leave them with a wound. Why? Because you're also bleeding. And until you deal with that bleeding that you have, until you deal with your wounds, you'll always be a toxic person. You'll always be hurting other people. So deal with your past trauma, deal with your pain, deal with your wounds, heal your wounds and heal them at the root cause. Yeah. So until you deal with your past trauma, until you deal with the root causes of your wounds, you'll always be hurting other people. You'll always be a toxic person. So deal with your past traumas. The second way of how to stop being toxic is learn to love yourself unconditionally. What happens when you have conditional love on yourself? When you give yourself conditions of worth, you'll be like, I will not love myself until I do this. Or the person who is like, maybe that one is not meant for me. I cannot do that. It's not meant for me. I cannot live in a certain lifestyle because it's not meant for me. You're giving yourself conditions of worth. And when you give yourself conditions of worth, you tend to project it on other people. Like if you see a person living that type of lifestyle that you have given yourself a condition of worth that you don't live, you'll find yourself hating on them. And you're not hating on them because you want to. You're unconditionally projecting that condition of worth that you've given yourself to this other person. Until you learn to love yourself unconditionally, those conditions of worth that you place on yourself, you'll continue to place them on other people. And you continue to hurt those people, being toxic to those people because they are giving themselves a life that you are not ready to give yourself. So you start hating on them, being toxic on them. The third way to stop being toxic is always apologize when necessary. If you hurt a person and you realize that you've hurt that person, or you hurt a person and they come tell you that, Lynn, you did 1, 2, 3 for me and it hurt me, it made me feel a type of way. Apologize to those people. Always learn to apologize. Be an apologetic person in your life, yeah? Apologize to others. And as you're apologizing to them, you will find that you will start working on those areas that cause you to hurt other people. And as you're working on those areas that are causing you to hurt people, because if I can't tell you made me feel a type of way, go reflect. Why did you make Clean feel a type of way? And as you're apologizing to people, make sure that your apology is sincere and it's genuine. Don't just apologize for the sake, yeah? So apologize to people when you hurt them and reflect on what made you hurt those people. As you are reflecting, you'll find that you will start working on those areas. And when you work on those areas, you stop being a toxic person. The fourth way on how to stop being toxic is be open to feedback. Be open to other people telling you that enyewe you did not do good, enyewe you need to work on this. So be open, and when you receive feedback from people, work on those areas that you are told you need to work on them. So another way to stop being toxic is practice mindfulness. How do you practice mindfulness? Be reflective before you tell anyone anything. Be reflective. Mind how you want to pass that message to anyone. If you want to talk to anyone, mind the message that you pass on people. You pass on to people, yeah? So be mindful in everything that you do, in your interactions with people, in your interaction even with yourself, how you communicate to yourself. Do not be that person who is always criticizing themselves negatively. Be mindful on how you interact with others, on your interperson relationship, and also in your intra-person relationships. Another sign is respect boundaries. Respect the boundaries that people have with each other, and also respect your boundaries with yourself. Respect the boundaries with other people. If other people tell you do not cross my lane at this point, don't cross that lane, yeah? Another way on how to work on your toxicity is be empathetic. Always place yourself in the shoes of that other person. Before you go telling people those hurtful things that you want to tell them, imagine if it was you being told that. Imagine if it was you being told how you are not worth it, how you're stupid, how you are, everything, yeah? So place yourself in the shoes of other people. Another way that is interacting and relating with everything that I've been talking about is contemplate first, then react second. Do not be that person who reacts immediately. Mtu akikukanyanga, you're that person who's like, mbona unanikanyanga? Yeah? So react second. First of all, get to understand, why is this person doing this to me? If it's a person who is hurting you, if it's a person who is making you produce that negative energy, yeah? Contemplate, why is this person doing this to me? Probably that person is hurting. I've just said that hurting people hurt others. That person is hurting, and in their hurting process, they also want you to hurt. Yeah, so fikiria kwanza. Take a moment to think and be like, mbona huyu ameniambia hivyo? Yeah, if you reflect on it well, you might find out that person is actually hurting. Ajaniambia hivyo juu anataka, kuna issues anadeal nazo ndizo zinafanya akue hivi kwangu, yeah? Another way is forget your ego. You do not always have to win. Something that causes people to be toxic is they always want to win. You always want to be the person who's like, yeah, I am the captain in this game, yeah? It doesn't always have to be you. Also, another one is to why you should forget your ego. When you forget your ego, you'll be ready to apologize to others with a sincere apology. And I've just said that apologizing to others is a way of working on your self-toxicity. So forget your ego. Let that pride go down for a minute and be genuine in everything, yeah? Another way is show vulnerability and accountability. Akubali kukua vulnerable to people. There is no Superman in this world. Superman is a fiction. It's a work of fiction. There's no Superman in this world. So be vulnerable to people. Let people see that they hurt you. When someone hurts you and you don't let them see that they've hurt you, what you do, you start projecting that hurt that you have unconsciously. You'll be like, sasa no huyu anashindanga amenifanyia makosa, kwani mimi nikimfanyia iko shida gani? Yeah? So be vulnerable. Let people know that they've hurt you, and when they've known that they hurt you, they'll apologize. And the next time you'll be interacting with them, you will not be from a point of, hata alinifanyia makosa. Being accountability, you'll show people that And it's not necessarily even about showing people. You will show yourself that you're ready to own up to your mistake. You're ready to own up when you do wrong. Yeah. So be accountable in everything that you do, especially in your interaction with others and also with yourself. Be accountable. Do not be a toxic person to your own self. And as you're not being a toxic person to yourself, you will find out that you will stop being toxic to other people. Another way in which you stop being a toxic person is assume positive intent in everything that you do. If you're doing anything, make sure that you're doing it from a point of love, from a point of compassion, from a point of positivity. Yeah. When you do things from a point of positivity, they tend out not to come out as toxic because you're doing it from a point of, I am doing this for the good of others. I am doing this for the good of myself. It will not come out as toxic. That one, I promise you, I assure you. If you do things from a positive intent, from a point of, I am doing this for the good of others and for the good of myself, it will not be toxic. Another way is build up others. Do not be that person who is happy when other people's lives are crumbling, when other people's life are going wrong. Build up others. If you have the ability to help someone come out from a dark hole, please do it. Please, for your own sake, even for the joy of your heart. At that point when you are happy, when your heart is genuinely happy, not be a toxic person. Yeah, so build others up. Be that person who is ready to hold the hands of others. Be that person who is ready to always be there for others. Build others up. And lastly, in my points on how to stop being a toxic person is seek help. If you feel that your toxicity is really affecting you and is really affecting the life of others around you, be ready to seek therapy. Therapists and professionals are here for your help. They are here for you. So seek therapy, seek help. And seeking help does not show that you are a weak person. No, that one is a misconception. It's a myth. If you accept to seek help, it shows how strong you are. Yeah. So as I am concluding, I know this video might be long. So as I am concluding is, the things that I'd like to leave you with is stop piling things on top of your wants. Stop decorating your wants. And how do people decorate their wants? You know that you are hurt. You know that in your childhood, you grew up being that person who was surrounded by negative energy. You are always told that you will not amount to anything, blah, blah, blah. Or you did something in your life that hurt you. You're coming from a point of hurt. So you have a wound. Instead of dealing with that wound, you start decorating it by giving yourself other good titles. Yeah. So unaanza tu kukua mtu mzuri, but you've not dealt with your pain. What you're doing is you have a wound that is bleeding. Then you do not even deal with your wound. You don't go to hospital for your wound to get cleaned up and stitched. You start putting now beautiful bandages around that wound. That wound will still be bleeding. And what it will be doing is that it will be dirtifying your beautiful bandages. Yes, you now have good titles. You are now a good person. But you still have that wound. As you are covering it up, I know I am demonstrating, as you are covering it up, what happens is your bandages, yes, they are beautiful, but they have that stain of that blood, of that wound. Yeah. So deal with your wound so that your bandages can stop having stains. Another thing is give the whispers that makes you toxic a voice. As you're giving these whispers that makes you toxic a voice, you start addressing them because now you have accepted the reality. Like what makes people toxic is probably you're coming from a point where you have a lot of insecurities and you have a lot of fears and you feel like I am not even worth all this. Give those whispers a voice. Every time you feel like I am not worth this, give it a voice. Say it out loud. I am not worth it. If you say it out loud, you start addressing it now. Why am I not worth it? Why am I feeling insecure about this? Why am I fearing to do 1, 2, 3? Yeah. So when you give your whispers, your toxic whispers a voice, you address them and you stop being a toxic person. Another thing is categorize the people in your life. Who do you accept to be in your life? Whose opinion do you entertain in your life? Yeah, make sure that the people whose opinion you are entertaining or listening to in your life, they are from positive people. They are from people who love you. They're from people who know you and know where you are coming from. So when you categorize the people in your life, you'll know that Fulani and Fulani, yes, they know me, but they do not know where I'm coming from. They do not know why I react as I react sometimes. And when you categorize them like that, you will find that a lot of energy that you are consuming that was not right for you, you will stop consuming it because they do not know you well enough to be able to be giving you opinions on how you should be going about your life. Another thing is, this one I have said it a lot, hurting people hurt others. So accept to deal with your pain so that you can stop hurting others. And my second last point is accept to forgive people. If people wronged you in your life and you've become a toxic person because people wronged you in your life, forgive them. Once you forgive them and you let it go, you will start having peace within yourself. So when you have that peace within you, you stop being a negative person, but it will not be like as I am doing it like this. You will have to learn how to forgive people, to let it go so that you can have that peace. Give your heart peace and you will stop being a toxic person. And my last point is you attract who you are. So if you are a toxic person, if you do not accept to let go of your toxicity, you will find yourself attracting a lot of toxic and negative people in your life. You are attracting the toxicity. You know, like toxic attracts toxic, yeah? So if you stop being a toxic person, you will stop attracting toxic people in your life. And now my last one, say I'm sure kabisa, is being toxic that does not mean that you are evil. It means that you have hurt, you are hurting and you need to work on it. So when you work on that hurt, when you work on that pain, you will stop being a toxic person. You're not necessarily evil. You're just a wounded person. You're a wounded soldier. So work on your pain. Accept to work on your pain. Yeah, and that has been it for today's video. I hope that you have learned a lot because I have enjoyed sharing everything that I have shared in today's video. So I hope that you have learned, and I hope that you will work on yourself to stop being a toxic person for yourself and also for those around you. So remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Remember, it's road to 200 subscribers. And if you have anything that you'd like to let me know, you can DM me on my social media platforms at nyokafe_nyokafe at Instagram and also on Facebook. See you in my next video. I love you.